everyone, we are Geeks Not Nerds. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
Today, Vince and I are going to talk about things in fiction that irritate us. We haven't talked about more broadly writing and fiction and TV movies and stuff lately, Vince, and kind of miss it. Want to do more of these kind of topics. So today, Vince and I have each selected a dramatic situation that irritates us, a dramatic situation that we see a lot, and I'm sure yours is probably like mine, where it's a thing that can be done well, but often isn't, or at least that's what mine is. And we're going to explore each of our kind of irritations of dramatic situations that pop up too frequently and that we're getting kind of sick of. Vince, why don't we start with you, man? Give me a dramatic situation that you see too often and that you're kind of tired of.
See, whenever I see this, I get super annoyed because I don't understand why anybody thought that your character could possibly survive and still be likable after this. The idea, well, not survive, is, they would die, but anyway. So I get annoyed when I'm watching some drama where there's a character who cheats on a person, and then they get really angry when the person that they're cheating on their significant other with is cheating on them as well. And I've seen this in multiple movies.
The double standard thing.
Yeah, and they're like, well, I can cheat, but you can't cheat. And I don't understand why that is supposed to be compelling drama, because I feel like that should be obviously, like, anybody should be able to back out of themselves for a second and say, you know what? I have self-awareness right now, and I recognize that I am also cheating. As opposed to just mine, I want it all. And that just drives me nuts.
Well, it immediately makes both characters unsympathetic, and because in the real world, if you were talking about people who were in a relationship with a foundation that could work, what ought to happen is that both of them look at each other and go, you know what, I don't think our relationship is working out. You know what I mean? Like they would. You're right. They would be able to step outside of themselves and look at what's actually going on and say, if we're both cheating on each other, maybe this isn't working, and maybe we're not respecting each other like we ought to. And I mean, forget just. You really shouldn't do that. You should have communication and talk to each other. When it's played up for that kind of drama, it's very simple why it doesn't work. Clearly, those two people shouldn't be together. And so why do I care?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm like, why? I guess I'm learning about a person who needs to learn about themselves, but when I watch that stuff, it feels like that is something that should be more like the novella equivalent of a movie.
Yeah. Well, what should happen, I don't think a thing like that works, and this is really funny because mine, the one I'm going to throw out here in a minute is so related to this.
Oh, yeah.
We're probably just going to end up saying most of the same stuff about both of them, but like, I think the only time that sort of thing works, Vince, is when there are consequences, and the person or both parties involved, depending on what kind of story you're telling, progress because of it.
Yeah, I feel like that is something that should be the ignition to the action. That should be the plot point, not the climax.
Yeah,
and
a lot of times it's just dragged out forever, right?
Yeah,
and we're supposed to. It's just a gimmick, right? And we're just supposed to enjoy all of the friction that it creates in its stagnant friction. This drives many sitcoms, right? Yeah. And then what's even worse is when it happens over and over and over again to a person, and they never learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you could make that a tragic protagonist that seems to be incapable of getting over that hurdle. They keep doing that over and over again, and they recognize, for some reason, I seem to be incapable of doing anything but getting into these kinds of situations where, I get cheated on, or where somebody takes advantage of me, or, I don't have enough empathy for other people. Maybe I'm not dating people for the right reason, that kind of thing. But that becomes a character study, and that is never what you're talking about.
Yeah, indeed. I'm excited to know about yours, and then we can kind of
compare them.
Compare and condense and move forward.
Can you guess what mine is after I said that?
No.
Okay, here we go. Love triangles.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, it's kind of the same, it's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm bringing that up, and of course I talk about that a lot. I mean, on Counting Crypto Freaks, and I haven't done that in a while, but on Counting Crypto Freaks, I always talked about love triangles, and I coined a love triangle face, and I would because there are, and I've been seeing a lot of love triangle face lately, where you have a character that really wants to be with someone, and they look on at the other person that person is dating, and then you have a really close camera that's like zooming in on the person, and they've got that look of jealousy and irritation and maybe even rage, and it's love triangle face, and half the time that you also get the 1-2 punch of love triangle face and walking away angry, like all at the same time. I've been seeing it a lot in stuff lately, and I've been seeing it frustratingly in a lot of superhero TV shows, and it seems like we can't get away from this thing. And it's not just superhero; it's all kinds of stuff. But and it's CW, but it's also other things. I mean, like I've been seeing love triangle face in Gotham, and it drives me crazy. What bugs me about a lot of love, and again, love triangles can be done really well. I'm always impressed when I like them. This is almost, I think, more annoying to me than yours, although yours irritates me also, because a lot of the time, now you're making 3 characters really obnoxious. And much of the time, you created a character just to create a love triangle, right? Where like you have the guy. Very often it's this situation. It's not always this. Much of the time, a love triangle is 2 guys and a girl. Sometimes it's 2 girls and a guy. But very often, what it is it's a guy that it's a guy that wants a girl who's unattainable, and then we have to give her a boyfriend already.
Yeah.
And we usually make that boyfriend really super generic and not interesting on his own, and he's kind of just a plot device. He's kind of a placeholder character.
And then they cast him as Aquaman, and they also cast him as Flash Gordon. And
yeah.
Indeed.
No, he wasn't Aquaman.
In the pilot, right?
That was the guy who played Oliver Queen in Smallville.
Huh.
But you're right, he was Flash Gordon. I heard he was really good in that. I didn't see any of it, but
I guess I forgot who I was talking about.
I like that actor. He was fine. It's just Whitney. No, you're talking about Whitney Fordman.
Yeah.
But those were 2 different people. But anyway. And then Jensen Ackles had one of these. In season 4. Yeah, he had that too. And then so did the guy who was in one of the guys who was in first season Lost. But anyway, moving on, because I can't think of actor names right now. I haven't thought of this stuff in a long time. But what we've got going on right now a lot in shows I'm watching, Vince, is these like really long, drawn out like love triangles and just like non-love stories, just to like waste time and create the illusion of real interesting conflict. And I think we have this idea. Maybe there are people that still like gravitate toward that and just really enjoy the will they won't they thing. But man, I'm sick to death of it, And I mean, I never liked it much in the first place, but like I'm really sick of it now because you always know where it's going to go. I mean, like especially in superhero shows, it's worse in a thing that's based on something that you're familiar with, because say again with Smallville, that Clark and Lana aren't meant to be together. And you know how I feel already about the fate thing, but like because of the material it's based on, that no matter what else they change about the Superman mythos, Clark Kent and Lana Lang probably are not going to get married at the end of this TV show, especially when you introduce Lois. Like one of the most surprising things they could have done in that show to really make us wonder would have been to introduce Lois before Metropolis and then kill her or something. But of course they didn't do that. So especially once you have her, you're like, well, it's not like they're ever going to get together. So we keep wasting time with multiple love triangles, only to ultimately, inevitably, get to the place where we always knew we were going to get in 8 years. Well, we're doing it right now with Flash, with Iris, but it's the same thing, only backwards, where it's okay. We can't let them start dating and get together right away. We have to create a whole bunch of conflict around it first, and we know inevitably they're going to get together, and we just gotta keep making people wait. Here's the thing, okay? You can creating suspense is good. Creating suspense for a thing that is so obvious and makes me not like characters at the same time is no suspense at all. And that's the problem with it. You know what I mean? What you do with a love triangle to make it work is you put three reasonable people in an impossible situation. You take three people who I like, who are all making sense, who all respect each other, and you say we all want something, and these other people want something else, and we hate that we have to steal from them what they want to get what we want. And you create, and that creates a different kind of conflict. But like, I like everyone involved. It's just nobody's able to really get what they want, and like that can be very interesting. And that's when love triangles really kind of work.
Like, like say somebody's stuck on an island for quite a long period of time, and they come back and their significant other's dating, like, say, their best friend or something.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that because first season Arrow, everybody kind of it was more reasonable. You know what I mean? In fact, they went out of their way to have a dinner scene when this first started going on, where Oliver was like, no, it's okay that you guys are dating. I realize that things have changed, and I was just completely thrown for a loop because I'm watching people making sense on a CW show. Fast forward to season 3 Arrow, and it's as
quite
bad
different.
as anything I've ever seen on a CW network. The way, or on the CW, the way that we're dealing with the love story. So anyway, that's my big one, Vince.
See, because
it's funny that we both went to relationships.
Because it just drives me kind of nuts when I'm watching a show. Like, I'm not going to just pick on my wife for watching certain things, but she'll watch some stuff, and I'll watch these characters doing things on screen. And I'll say, well, now, why doesn't this character and this character just use a little common sense and realize that you don't have to be butthurt about everything, to use my professional terminology. You don't have to be just indignant about crap. You can show up and make decent choices and still have those easy story angles.
By the way, make sure to subscribe to Vince's new channel, Geekvolution. Well,
the Crugen. So, what drives me nuts is when I see characters that
you can have that, Terry. You can have it.
Geekvolution.
It's all yours. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Garth Ennis and I are going to be bunkmates.
Oh my god. Next up on the boys' year.
Well, at least the boys like.
Do I have to build a set for that? Because that sounds gross. Yeah. Anyway,
it seems like there'd be a lot of sticky stuff everywhere.
Oh, okay. We are still not on Geekvolution. Just so,
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about pancakes here.
Yeah. So
what some waffles here. Different thing. So
waffle. I love waffles. Strawberries. Good stuff.
Yeah, Waffles, the cat on Goof Troop. Isn't that the cat's name on Goof Troop? Is Waffles?
I don't remember. That's obscure.
I don't know.
That's pretty good. I'm impressed. If that's what that actually is, I'm impressed.
Look it up for me. Let me know.
Wow. So what were we talking about?
I don't remember.
Okay. All right. Well, with both of the things we're talking about, I guess now this has just turned into the things we don't like about TV relationships episode.
Well, I feel like it's just too easy to do these.
It is.
These like I'm angry and indignant about relationship things.
And very often it's just stretched until, and how plot driven is it?
Yeah.
Like it's just stretched until we finally decide that it's not going to be this way anymore. Something I've noticed on sitcoms. Let me go there for a minute. I've been watching Friends. Something I've noticed on sitcoms is you'll have a character that I'll like a lot. That like kind of a random character that's brought in to date one of our main characters until the show inevitably hooks them up with the person that from day one it's clear they will eventually be hooked up with whenever the show finally gets there, right? And it's just stringing us along forever. And what I hate is when I like that character, like the random person they happen to be dating, and then suddenly the character is written completely contrary to the way they've been for the entire season or whatever it is that they've been in, just to write them out. This happens a lot. And I don't think it just happens in sitcoms, but it's a thing I've noticed a lot in sitcoms, where you'll have like again, I've been watching Friends, like Ross almost marries this British girl, and then they end up breaking up, and I won't go into why, but he does a stupid thing at the altar, and they break up, and she considers getting back together with him, but she's really, really, really unreasonable about it, and she was like the most reasonable character in the show, and then all of a sudden they don't play it like, oh, she got burned at the altar, so now she's like she's like so messed up that she's doing stuff that she wouldn't have done before. It's not played that way. You know what I mean? Like, you can make that work, but they're not doing the legwork to get you there. And you might say, oh, well, it's just a sitcom. It's a framework to tell jokes. It's okay if characters don't always make sense. And that, well, yeah, but the problem is they do a lot of that relationship stuff in like kind of, you know, pseudo serious ways, or even completely serious ways, to like try to get you invested, and so you feel like you're being taken advantage of to a degree. You know what I mean? So I hate stuff like that. You know. I
just thought of a completely separate. Different one.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I was watching a cartoon yesterday. Deal with it. And it was the Mr. Peabody remake, or not remake, but movie they did. You know, Mr. Peabody and
I had no interest in that.
And I watched some of that, and what I didn't quite understand.
It has Patrick Warburton in it.
Yeah, it sure does. Every time I hear Patrick Warburton's voice in something, I go, that's Patrick Warburton.
Yeah, you can't mistake it.
What I don't understand at all is why characters will sometimes...
Did you know that even fiddler crabs can die? Sorry.
So, I'll give you the framework. In this movie, there is a bully who picks on Sherman, the little boy that is adopted by the dog. For those of you who are like, what are you talking about? So there's a girl that turns into a bully, and she bullies this boy, and the school system sides with the girl because she decides to show people that she's a victim. Like, no, it was his fault the whole time. And what I don't understand is why we see things like this that are just so unbelievably public. And then you have to have the school system or whatever overarching rule structure there is, and the people that control that side with the aggressor just because they do. Not because it makes any sense for them to, but just because they do. And I understand that a lot of victims feel like this. They're like, well, the system's on the side of the aggressor. Not so much. I mean, not all the time. I mean, certainly sometimes, but not all of the time. So why is it that it seemed like it's all of the time?
More of the time in a situation like that, it's just we're not going to sort it out, so we just put the blame on both parties involved, right? Like,
that's
more
a good
often
point.
What in real life actually happens. And I mean, I've seen that done in a lot of fiction. I mean, in a lot of movies and TV shows and stuff. You know, where it's just okay, both of you go to the office. You know, like that okay, I can buy into that. But no, I see what you're saying, and then that's just manufactured conflict to put your protagonist in a bad spot. But do we have to contrive that? Could we not easily come up with a thing that's like real conflict?
Yeah.
Right?
And I just don't get it.
And I just think that everything we're talking about, because that's not even a relationship thing, but everything we're talking about right now is all manufactured conflict.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's all simply a contrivance to create the hurdle, the bad stuff that your protagonist has to get over. Okay, well, you have to have that, but you're almost building it on a faulty premise at the beginning, and half the time you have to make somebody, and very often it's your protagonist, stupid to get there. You know, and let me go back to the love triangle thing for a minute, because this is a thing where a lot of the time we have to make our protagonist kind of dumb, because a lot of the time what happens is you'll have the protagonist or the person that he or she is going after. So what'll happen is you'll want to stretch it out for an entire season or more. That not only that, like, we know we're looking at a love triangle, but there's one point of the triangle that has no idea what's going on and is galactically stupid in the way Lois Lane was in Lois and Clark, not knowing for like 2 seasons that Clark and Superman were the same person, and that's where the phrase "galactically stupid" comes from, because Tempest calls her that, and I always thought that was really funny. When she finally finds out, and then it's a spoiler alert for that show, but it's a time travel episode, so they reverse it at the end, if memory serves, where she doesn't remember anymore. But during that episode, she finds out that Clark is Superman, and she's really unreasonable. That's another thing I really hate. When a character refuses to see the other person's side of a thing that they're like really super close with, and they really ought to, you know what I mean? But anyway, so she's like, oh, Clark, you're such a horrible person for not telling me you were Superman and trying to, you know, keep me safe and all that. And then Tempest is like, you're galactically stupid. Well, what happens is, a lot of the time you have a point on that love triangle that is galactically stupid, where it is very obvious that this guy or this girl is interested in whoever it is, and just doesn't get the gumption to say that they are. Meanwhile, she's dating this other guy, and he can't say anything about it. So every time they're in a room together, he says all kinds of things that immediately should make her go, "Oh my God, he's into me," and she never figures out. She's made a complete moron just to make this conflict work, and then like the protagonist himself will be made kind of unsympathetic at the exact same time, just because he's not proactive. And I mean, like, yeah, you can do that. You can have like the guy, because that happens. I mean, and we can relate to that. You have the guy who's like afraid to ask the girl out, but it's stupid when it's dragged out forever like that, right?
Yeah, like have him make a decision and then deal with the fallout.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You walk up, you say something, and then that's when the action starts. It's not, the action is not in the space of air where you just stand around and look at each other for a while.
Yeah, and that's very often how it's done. It's like we're supposed to enjoy that it's stalled out.
Yeah, like the anticipation is the part that's the good part.
Which is true for some things, but that's true for like...
You wait for good things.
We're waiting for like the axe murderer to finally show up, you know, or like that's tension and suspense. I don't know that it works the same way with relationships, or it can, as long as people are acting reasonable. What I mean is, if you have the way I would do it is, if you have a guy that's like really into a girl and he's like, okay, I can't date her because she's with this other guy and I respect that. So it's stalled out in the sense that he's not going to act on it, and we understand why, and he's being a reasonable, sane person for doing that, and he's trying to move on, but of course he can't. He's kind of just waiting for them to break up, or that guy to keel over or something, and then when finally that guy keels over or leaves or something, then he can make his move. In the meantime, you tell other interesting stories in the interim, and not everything has to be about relationship drama, you know?
So can we say that you wait for the payoff, but that you should not be waiting for the necessary plot points?
Yeah, exactly. And you got to have something else going on in the interim. I mean, I think, you can tell stories that are just relationship drama, but I don't know that it works when that's all it is. You know what I mean? Because for me, now Vince,
too old hat.
You might think I'm crazy when I say this, but for me, good relationship drama is when two people are, wait for it, in a relationship.
Not trying to get into a relationship.
Right?
Yeah.
You know? And also, the on-again, off-again thing is really hard to pull off and make me buy that those two people have a foundation that makes sense to have an ongoing relationship.
Like, why would you be on again, off again if you guys didn't have any... Like, why would it be that way?
And what it's almost always based on is just it's just poor communication. And it's like, if only both of those people would get over their insecurities and say how they feel about things, then it would move on. And again, I don't like people like that, so I don't care.
I mean, it's this whole Twilight thing, you know, when these characters are doing things that are obvious to each other, and I start to throw stuff when I'm watching that. I'm like, why can't you just tell that person the thing that you already told them when they weren't listening? I hate you.
And then the bigger issue at large, getting out of the fiction, and I'll just tack this on real quick, is that it validates bad behavior. And I know I say that a lot, but all it does is it says that this is normal. And I don't see why it has to be. I feel like we can raise the bar higher than that. You know what I mean? I feel like people should communicate. People should talk to each other.
And to some extent, you can watch bad behavior, but if your character is proactive and they do things, then you're not prolonging and watching the airspace where nothing is happening.
Yeah.
And then you see the consequences of actions. I mean, Buffy makes choices and deals with it. Hermione makes choices and deals with it. Bella doesn't make choices until like the end of 3 movies. So,
and in the interim is like super controlling.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly, Vince. I mean, like, and yeah, this is the distinction I always have to make, because sometimes people misunderstand what I'm saying when I say this, but I don't mean to say that everyone must be perfect.
No.
It is boring to watch people that are perfect, but it is an oversimplification to say that both of these are oversimplifications, to say that a sympathetic character is someone who always does the right thing. At the same time as it is an oversimplification to say that a sympathetic character is someone who has flaws. You see what I'm saying? That's a given. Everybody has flaws. You give a character one major character flaw, and they can never get over it. And you created the exact same problem. It's just as stereotypical as the guy who does nothing wrong. It's the same problem. What you need to do is create complex people who try stuff and mess up and then learn from it and move on. And also, the intent of the piece is really important. Is this a cautionary tale? Is this a hero's journey story? What is it? If we are celebrating a heroic character making bad choices, and like you get to the end, and clearly what they did is not a thing that you should do and would not really work in real life, but the consequences are they're rewarded for their bad choices, especially in relationship stuff, because we see this all the time. Then what you've created is something that I think is pretty abhorrent. You're telling people that this behavior is justified because this is how people act. This is how people are supposed to behave. So I don't know. I think that sometimes we miss because especially with television, Vince, we're trying to get it out. You know what I mean? Like, we got deadlines and stuff, and I understand that and I appreciate it. But there's a certain degree of responsibility. I think, and again, it's fine to have characters do bad, wrong stuff, but you've got to make it really clear that you, the writer, are not saying it's okay.
I mean, I feel like the choices that a character makes needs to come from within that character. There should be it should be like diegetic to the orchestra of emotions within. You know what I mean?
Wow, I really like that, man. I don't know what that means, but that's very poetic.
It should.
Sorry, what?
The complex character should make choices
dissect
that are born from the person that they are, as opposed to what the writer is forcing into them. So
yeah, and then that's just character-driven versus plot-driven.
So exactly. So what if you're saying that this character is doing something that, to use your word, abhorrent? If your character is doing something abhorrent, then it's really difficult to make that person do anything proactive that you care about, because they're going to be doing, if the abhorrent behavior is diegetic from the orchestra thing. If it is, then that means that most of their choices are going to lean that way, and then you're watching somebody that's unlikable. And so it seems out of character for a person to do something that is abhorrent if they're otherwise likable. So in other words, that is the definition of contrivance.
Isn't it? Yeah, it is. That's great. But I want you to take that phrase and put it in a review and see how many people call it the most pretentious thing they've ever heard. That was amazing.
Well, thank you.
I love everything about that.
Oh, that was funny.
That was really funny. But yeah, so I mean, it's really interesting how often like really terrible things characters do are just to get us to the next place.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Like, now we're going to deal with this thing that happened. I'd rather just start after the thing that happened, so we don't have to. Like, you know what? Fine. I'll let a character make bad choices. I can chalk it up to it happening, and there was a bad week, and I made a choice that I really regret, and now let's start.
But then you got to make up for it somehow, you know? You got to, or if you don't, it's got to serve the story for some reason. There's got to be a reason you're doing that. There's got to be, and I don't mean that it's got to be messagey. I just mean that a character can be very interesting who refuses to change. I talk about that all the time. The distinction between moment of change and opportunity for change. Good stories are not just the formula of a person wants a thing, do they get it or not, and then at the end they have like some kind of like a light switch moment where, oh, now I understand how the whole world works. You know what I mean? It can be just as interesting to have a character who never changes, but it has to be clear that you did it on purpose. You know,
like HUD, a character that doesn't change and ends up
Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
I say this all the time.
Most superhero things.
Yeah, well, not.
Most
DC superhero things.
That's fair.
But yes, and this is the thing we talk about all the time here, of course. But and I'll say this, and I'll go to the big example that is the easiest thing for me to go to. Spawn, who's a character who never changes, but we constantly pretend like he does, and that's what you gotta. That's what you got to get away from. That's what you got to not do, and that's when it's just a series of gimmicks. It's just a bunch of stuff that happens instead of a progression of a character. But yeah, so Well, it's funny how that started from a couple of different situations and just turned into us getting back on our here's how you do character versus plot-driven soapbox again.
I feel like it all comes back to that. Like it's like everything should come back to that to some extent when you talk about storytelling. Rants?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right. Am I going first?
Yeah. So Vince, I'm gonna start your rant for you. So Vince bought something, pre-ordered something, and he's pissed off at the person that he right.
Actually, that wasn't what I was going to rant about, but I'll talk about that. Sure.
Oh no, you got another one? Do you have another one? Surely you don't have another one.
I do have another one.
Every time.
So for those of you who saw the previous one, I did order the thing. My rant was that you can't find the those exclusive pop figures.
You know, I haven't checked the PO box in a while. I hope nobody sent you one. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So I ordered one on eBay because somebody posted it, starting bid, free shipping, $15. And I went, you know what? That's basically like buying the figure, and then it's like $5 for shipping. So I thought, you know what? That's not bad.
Yeah.
So I put out like a $16.50 bid on it. Nobody bid against me. I got it. And so about a week later, I'm still waiting for this thing. I paid with PayPal, e-check, it cleared. And
this one's not a pre-order, though. I'm impressed.
Yeah, no, it's not a pre-order. Which, the pre-order thing that I got, they replaced it for me. So
okay, good.
Praise
good.
Jesus. But
Awesome, yeah.
so this guy, after a week, decides he's going to cancel my order. And the funny thing is on the day that I canceled, or that he canceled my order, and I'm still waiting for my money back. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's watching. You're like, hey, you!
So on the day that I canceled my order, or excuse me, that he canceled my order,
What were we talking about?
I get a call from one of the Walgreens in town that asked me for my phone number and my name, and they'd call me when they got it in. Whenever a place that is not a specialty store that doesn't do pre-orders does that, I expect to never get a phone call. That morning, before I knew it was canceled, that morning I got a phone call from Walgreens telling me they got it in, and I went, "Are you serious? Holy crap!" And I said, "Well, thank you, but I already bought it online." And then I go home and I see that he canceled my order because I presume he bought this thing like every other bad person in the world. Bought this
I don't think
thing.
you've ever done a follow-up rant like this, like the week after. So here are the results of the previous rant.
Because I didn't expect it to move that quickly, honestly. I kind of figured I wouldn't find one for under $30, and then I wouldn't actually, take the plunge for it for $30 because I feel like that's unreasonable. And I'm like, it's originally an $8 toy. That's ridiculous. So.
See, now you got me feeling really, really stupid.
Why is that?
Because I just bought a package of Tick Band-Aids for $30.
Well.
Because I'm buying everything Tick, and I didn't think I would ever find a sealed package of Tick Band-Aids ever again.
It's different, although I understand why you say that.
I'm just...
It's different because the thing that people are charging $30 for is supposedly nationally available.
Yeah.
At a national store. So.
Well, and also, this guy wasn't charging $30 for Band-Aids. There's just some other stuff in that auction I had already.
That's fair.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
But so that's the end result is that I managed to get it from the Walgreens that called me because and luckily because I think the idea was that they put them out on the shelves and called people and told them they were in, and now there's only one left on the shelf.
Oh, okay.
So I managed to get them called just in time to get mine pulled. So then I went and bought it anyway. So I'm still waiting for my money back from that cat. So the other rant, I'll make this one super quick.
Oh, sure, go ahead. Sorry, I started that. That's my fault.
I find the lack of interesting patterns for men's clothing kind of odd. I find it weird.
You know what? We're men. We can be fashionable too.
Yeah, you know what it is that you find
you wouldn't know that looking at us on this show.
You find a series of different styles.
We're just trying to be appropriate,
You find stripes. You find like horizontal stripes, vertical stripes, and then you find like
solid colors,
and lumberjack plaid.
Lumberjack. And I'm okay.
And you find variations on these things, and you find collared shirts, not collared shirts. You find button downs, and you find polos. And then you find the variations that are based on year rather than, or based on like decade rather than the people that are designing it. So I feel like there's somebody out there with just this big cutting machine that just makes a shirt and says, this is this season's style, and it looks exactly like everything you've ever seen before. The lapel is maybe a little bit bigger.
And then charges $60 for a brand name.
And then I look at that and I go, you know, why couldn't you come up with like an interesting plaid? Like, I feel like there's a lot of ties with interesting plaids, but not shirts with interesting plaids or shirts with interesting stripe patterns or something. And I can't get excited about clothes, so I just end up wearing whatever ratty piece of crap I throw on.
I love that rant, Vince. I mean, I have that so much where it's just like it's like just because I'm a guy and we have such like little variety for fashion, I can't get excited about clothes. And I would love to get excited about clothes. I don't feel like that's a feminine thing.
You know, and I saw this.
And if it is, I don't care. I'd love to be excited about clothes, but I can't be.
And the reason this rant comes to mind is because I was looking around online on Pinterest and whatever things. Yeah, I get on Pinterest. Deal with it. So
actually, it's kind of feminine. Feminine, really.
It is kind of feminine, but I don't care.
I'm just kidding.
So, or it's generally a woman-used thing.
Is it really? I just said that. I didn't even know. You were the first. You recommended Pinterest way before people were talking about Pinterest, and I'd never heard of it before when you first mentioned it. So I didn't know it was a mostly lady thing. Okay.
I mean, I find that most people who use Pinterest are women, or at least most people who are vocal about it. But there are several men on there. I follow the boards of some men who put geeky stuff on there. I follow menswear stuff, but you know what the funny thing is?
There's not much, probably.
The menswear stuff is mostly posted by women. And the thing that started me on this... Yeah.
That's awesome.
Apparently women think we're dolls, and they want to dress us up. And in fact, I know a girl who is the wife of one of my wife's friends, and she's like, oh... let me take you to Plato's Closet, and we're going to show you how to dress. And the idea in my head is, you know what? I've been to Plato's Closet. For those of you who don't know, it's like it's like vintage stock, or it's a used clothing store where you take clothes in and sell.
But when you get in there, it's actually a big cave where there's a bunch of forms.
I like it. So the thing that started me on this path was I found some Korean styles with interesting necklines on their polos and interesting lapels and things that were held in different ways, and they weren't exactly not everything had to be, what's the word, not parallel, even
perpendicular.
Same on both sides. What do you call that?
That would be see, now that you said that, I can't think of the freaking word either. Symmetrical.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what you're looking for.
But
monarch butterfly.
So I see these things and I say to myself, why does everything have to be perfectly symmetrical? And why can't we have things that are asymmetrical? And I just kind of wonder why, and especially like t-shirts, why we don't have t-shirts that will highlight a physique as opposed to just like, here is a shirt and we're going to give you a square. And and whatever goes in the square is the design that you get. And you know what? I find t-shirts out, this isn't 100% across the board, but I'll find t-shirts out there, like I love big Superman symbols because this diamond shape highlights the masculine shoulders. You want those things to be highlighted. It attracts the eyes.
Oh, okay. I never thought of that.
And then you see other things where there's like just a big stripe across here that attracts the eyes. It highlights the shoulders.
Do you want a whole show about this?
And
no, okay.
I don't know that I have much more to say about it than I've already said.
All right.
But we should be.
I was picturing hilarity.
So, that's my hilarity.
That's Dooms Vince if he was a 1920s silent film villain.
Hang on, I'll do Dooms Vince as a 1920s silent film villain.
Okay, go ahead. That's pretty good. Yeah. Actually, do it one more time. You see that? Yeah, that's what it would be like.
Maniacal laughter.
That would be an inner title, right? But no. Anyway, okay.
Yes.
My turn real quick? Okay, alright, so here's my rant today. How come there aren't licensed Superman towels? Why is that? There aren't very many of them. So I have a Death of Superman bathroom. Now, in a perfect world, I would have black towels that have the Death of Superman symbol on them. Now, I can't expect that. It's no longer 1992. But, and I don't think there were any of those at that point either. That's a really good idea, Vince. But all I'm saying is, it seems like there ought to be more licensed Superman stuff in general, and I know it sounds funny because, like, there's a lot of it. I've been to the Superman Museum in Metropolis, so have you. You know how much Superman stuff there is?
A lot.
But there's not a lot of stuff available currently for as much home decor stuff as there is Batman. And so you go to Target or whatever, and I mean, this is a stupid rant. This is a first world problem is what this is. This is a stupid rant because 10 years ago you couldn't have found Batman towels either just going out to Target. So I should appreciate what I got.
For third world rants, next time we'll rant about the abundance of wild animals that will eat you when we go down to the river to get water.
We'll do a GNN where we'll pretend like we time traveled back to antiquity.
I feel like what I just said is hugely offensive. But
I was trying to mask it with awkward laughter. Anyway, so here's my quick story about this and the reason I'm bringing it up. So I have a Death of Superman bathroom. We broadcasted from it before. And broadcast, not broadcasted. It's like the word cast. It's never casted. I don't know why that is, but it's not casted. Anyway, so we shot there like a year ago for a show, and so folks have seen it. Anyway, this year my aunt gave me homemade Superman towels. She did these towels up for everybody and put a cool like strip of something that people that whoever it was likes a lot. She told me that it was between Superman and Batman, and she just on a whim went Superman. And so this is what she made. And I got irrationally excited about these towels at Christmas. And she made fun of me profusely for how nuts I got that she gave me Superman towels, because I haven't been able to find them anywhere. And these are just a strip, and they look good. And she gave me this in a washcloth, and then last week, I lost my mind so hard at that Christmas party that last week she sent me another box of them. And was like, here's a whole set. You were so excited about Superman. So anyway, Aunt Shauna, if you happen to be watching, thanks very much once again for my Superman towels. I'm so excited. Why aren't there licensed ones out available at this very moment?
It's hilarious to me that somebody who gave you a gift would make fun of you for being so excited about it.
Well, she wasn't mean or anything. It was just, I've never seen anyone get that excited about towels. You know what I mean? Like,
fair statement.
Yeah. Because, it's just towels. But I've been looking I couldn't find them,
She's like, heck, I just sewed a strip of material.
We had Batman towels in my Death of Superman bathroom for the longest time, and as far as I know, Batman never killed Superman, so I needed to get those out of there, But I would really love to get...
Batman did beat the crap out of Superman.
That's true. It's not the Frank Miller Superman bathroom, but I would love to get black towels with embroidered Superman, Death of Superman, bloody symbol. That would be so freaking cool. I'm totally gonna try to commission somebody to do that now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, call Brandon's sister.
Anyway, that's my rant. That's my rant.
All right.
I really love these towels. Anyway, everybody, thanks as always for watching. We sure appreciate it. And leave your comments. We'd like to know what fictional situation you're most sick of. Is it a relationship thing? Is it something else? Are you tired of people dying and coming back all the time? That's a thing. I almost picked that. That's a thing I thought of.
Yeah.
But we've done a whole show on that. We've probably done a whole show on love triangles at some point. I just don't remember it. And that kind of thing. But you know what? I think every now and again, it's okay to come back and revisit that stuff because more folks, in my personal opinion, should be talking about that because I think that we, once again, soapboxy for 5 seconds, I think that we've kind of overall lowered the standards of storytelling, especially on television, and people just accept that as like, well, you gotta fill 22 episodes, so we expect it. I've seen enough good shows in 22 episodes that don't resort to that. And so I don't think we have to.
I also don't think that if you're going to use filler, you don't need 22 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. We've been talking about that a lot lately too. We're gonna see a big shift here in the next 10 years. And it's getting interesting. Anyway, thanks for watching, folks. We sure appreciate it. And also, leave a comment if there's something you'd like us to talk about in a future video. We'll see you again next week. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Vince, reminding you to support your local comic book store.
Thanks again, folks.